Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a redstone secret crypt base. In this video I'll show you how to create the redstoning and decorate your crypt. And this redstone door is Bedrock and Java friendly, so you can create it in any version of Minecraft. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind that for a build like this, it's always useful to have a few extra of each supply on hand. Here is the outline for our secret crypt base. Keep in mind you'll need a little extra room around each side for the decorations. This area is going to have our doorway and then the crypt entry, and then we can go downwards into the basement for our base. Before we start on the redstoning, we need to create the shell to house it. So I'm going to start by building up 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side of the door, and then leaving a 2-block gap for our doorway. I'll go over the top like this. I'll then build up 1 to either side again. I'm then going to use some blast furnaces, and then I'm placing them so that this texture here is tucked away and you can't see it. So we've got 2 on either side, and then let's fill in the rest of this front wall. Just like this. Now let's rotate round and do the side walls. They're both going to be the same. I'm going to count 3 across with some blast furnaces, then a stone brick, then 3 more blast furnaces and a stone brick, and we'll fill in the rest of the wall to that 4-block height. Like that. There we go. Now onto this back wall, I'm going to place 2 blast furnaces on either side, and then I'll build up just this section to the 4-block height. I'm going to leave this 5-wide gap with the 3-wide gap between those 2 walls out, and we'll fill that in later. But we're ready to get redstoning now. I'm going to start by placing in a few of my floor blocks, just placing them in like that. I'm using some polished andesite here. Now let's come inside the build, and we need to do a little bit of digging. I'm going to dig 3 across this way and dig a total of 4 back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll dig out this rectangle. There we go. I'm also going to dig out 1 extra layer here to create an L. And I'm going to place 2 redstone and a repeater going that way. I'm then going to have a repeater diagonally up from that with a redstone going into it. I'm using any kind of block. I've got purple wool here, and then I'm going to have a repeater coming out of that. And I'll also go ahead and place a redstone torch on top of here. Now we're going to bring up our button and connect it for where we have our power switch on the outside. So I'm just going to have the redstone come up here like this, up a little row of steps. Then I'm going to connect a repeater up and making sure it's facing away from the wall like this, and I'm flicking it on to the maximum number of ticks there. I'll bring it 1 more over, and then I'm going to place another temporary block to bring the button up 1 higher. I'm then going to go outside my build and line myself up for where that switch is, and you should find that if you press it, your redstone is powered. Perfect. I'm also going to take 1 of my floor blocks and place it above this redstone here in this corner, and I can go ahead and place a button on top of that. Now we're going to go ahead and work on the other side. So I'm going to break these 2 blocks and add in 1 redstone dust and a repeater. Then on this block here, I'm going to add in a redstone torch. So here's what we have so far. Now it's time to add in the actual door. So we're going to use 2 of our other kind of building blocks and place them here and here. You can see that's above the torch there. I'm going to place a redstone dust, and it should form a cross like this, not a dot like that. Now we're going to place in some sticky pistons. We've got 4 going in here, 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 and then off of that redstone dot like this. Next, I'm going to build a 2x2 wall out of stone brick beside here. We've got to add a couple more of our wool and a redstone dust there. Now I'm going to grab a couple more sticky pistons and come outside my build. I'm going to be looking at these back 2 stone brick and placing them off of this, and they should extend. Now we can place in our stone bricks for our door, and we can press our button and it shall open up and we can head inside, like that. And you can test that when you press this button, it opens up as well. Now that the door is working, we can continue work on this build. I'm going to come outside of the build now and remove these groups of stone brick. We're going to be creating little alcoves and placing candles in here. I'm going to use a set of 3 of these plain colored candles, and I'm going to go back and light them in a little bit. You'll need to hold shift when you place in the first candle, and then to place in the rest you just click on the other candle. Now we're going to come inside the build and we're going to place some stone brick stairs facing upside down like this, so that we don't block our redstone on either side, and I'm placing these off of the candles. Then on the top layer we're adding in a stone brick like that. Now for this side we don't have to worry about blocking of redstone, so I'm just going to add in 2 stone brick. Like that. We're going to be adding a false wall here, so we're going to use some more blast furnaces. 2 here and 1 to that side. And I'm going to build up this wall to the same height. So you can see we've created these little alcoves in the wall. We're going to connect these up and hide this redstoning now. So we've got to build up 4 high here. Then I'm going to carefully build around this button on either side. So we've got a 3 wide gap, and I'll build that up to the full height. And I'm going to leave a gap for the door but build over the top of it. And it's always a good idea to check that you haven't interfered with any redstoning as you go. Let's fill in this wall now. We're going to create a little design on here. So building across the bottom with the stone brick, then we've got some stone stairs and a chiseled stone brick. And I'm going to build up on either side of here so I can add in an upside down stone stair. I'm also going to build up to complete that wall, and I'm building 1 higher in a little U shape like this. Then at the front of the build, I'm going to find the center, place a stone brick and build 2 to either side. Like that. Now I'm going to grab some polished andesite stairs, and I'm just going to bring a ring around like this, connecting up the walls of this build. So it should look like this from above. For the next section, I'm going to quickly chuck some torches into these redstoning areas to make sure we don't have mobs spawning. Just like that. I'm going to grab some stone brick next and place them above the doorway. There we go. Then I'm coming to the front of the build, and I'm going to build up here. So I'm 3 blocks in on either side, and this is going to leave me with a 3 block wide gap, and I'll build across the top here as well, like this. Then I'm going to connect up this section to the back of the build, and you should find they line up nicely. And I'll add 1 more on top of this wall here. So we've created a nice rectangle to build the roof part on. Before we add on the roof, I'm going to come inside the build and work on this floor. And it's a great idea to grab out some sort of temporary lighting block here, just because it's going to get dark when we add our roof on. So I'll pop a couple of torches up. For this floor, I'm going to be using some of the polished andesite that we had before. And I'm going to leave out this block here. That's where I'm going to have my ladder later. I'm going to use some cracked stone brick, some regular andesite, and some mossy cobblestone. I'm just aiming to give it a really worn look. And you can always mess around with the texture to come up with a texture you're really happy with. I think I might add in just a bit more of this mossy cobblestone. And I'm going to avoid having it in a super patterned look. I think that looks pretty good now. Yes, I'm happy with that. Alright, let's grab out some stairs next. We're going to place in a little archway on either side here of the crypt. Then we're going to place in some stairs upside down like this, and on this side too. And then in this gap above each archway, I'm just turning so I'm creating a smaller archway above. Like this, and you can see we've got a gap in the center of that. Let's come up now and work on this roof. So I'm going to come so I'm facing from the front of the build to begin with. We're going to grab out some stone here, and we're making a ring set one back from the stone border that we've already created. Like this. Then, to make the interior look nice, we're going to add one extra stone brick here. I'm going to be placing 2 polished deep slate on top of these 2 blocks of stone that we've got above this little opening, like that. I'm going to grab some stone brick walls next, and I'm placing these on each of the corners. I'm going to grab some stone bricks, and I'm going to create a border going all the way around here. And I'm going to add 2 more polished deep slate here at the front. You can see I'm leaving a gap in front of that polished deep slate. I'm going to be placing a stone brick slab in that gap there, as well as at the top this 2 stack of polished deep slate, and 1 again at the front. And we're going to create a little peak here by adding a stone brick on either side, and I'm going to run a row of stone brick all the way along here. So you can see we've got a nice little point. Now we can add in the actual roofs to cover everything up. I'm going to be using some smooth stone slabs to fill in these gaps on either side. There we go. I'm also going to place in a couple torches here and here before we work on this roof. For this roof, we're going to be using polished andesite to create an edge, and then we'll fill in the rest of the roof with regular andesite. I'm going to extend it one out like this, and then I will zigzag my way up to the top to create a nice smooth finish. And I'll just have one facing outwards like this when I get to the top. Now let's come back down, and then we'll work on the other side. If you're enjoying today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing. And if you'd like to access more benefits, like world downloads and schematics, and access to our multi-world server where you can play alongside me and other great Minecrafters, make sure you check out my Patreon. I'd love to have your support and have you join my community. Okay, there we go, we've got the edging done. Now let's fill in these 2 gaps with the regular andesite stairs. There we go. We're going to add some details to the top here. I'm placing an anvil with a cobbled deep slate wall on top on either end, and then I'm joining them up with some iron bars. Here's how the build is looking. Let's add some details next. First, I'm going to grab some polished andesite stairs, and I'm going to be placing these around the outside edge like this. See how they're upside down, and I'm also leaving the corners out here. There we go. Next, I'm going to be creating some little buttresses on each corner. So that's a chiseled stone brick, then a stone stair, and a stone brick wall. So let's place in all the locations for these, and then we can go in with each of the details. And lastly, the walls here. There we go. We're also going to be placing the walls on top of these andesite stairs all the way around. And then to disguise the button, we're going to be using dark oak buttons all the way around the build like this. And you can really see with all the buttons in place that there's nothing suspicious going on here. It really does just look like a cool build. We have a few more details to add. Let's go around to the back. And we're going to work on this section here. I'm placing a chiseled stone brick on each side, followed by an anvil. Then we've got a stone stair and a cobbled deep slate wall. And then placing a row of upside down stone stairs at the very top. I'm going to go in with a couple of buttons here and here. And I'm going to place some candles at the top here. Just like that. Then we're going to come around to the front of the build and work on this doorway. I'm going to start by stacking up 2 lots of anvils here and here with a stair on top. Then we've got 2 walls and 2 stairs here and here. and I'm going to place a clustering of candles on top of each of those. And I'm going to start lighting my candles now. Next, for this doorway section, I'm going to build up 3 high with cobbled deep slate on either side. In the center, I'll place a chiseled stone brick with stone brick to either side of that. Then I'm going to use some upside down andesite stairs as well as a couple of slabs to create a little archway. And we're also going to create a gate. For this, I'm just using some iron bars and then some chains for the handles. Let's go ahead and light all the candles, and then we can head inside and decorate. Okay, into the crypt. We can press our button and we can head inside. The first thing I'm going to add is our coffin. So I'm going to place in 2 anvils, and then for the coffin itself, I'm using furnaces, and you can see I'm hiding this interior texture. There we go. Let's add a flower pot with a dead bush inside. And we're going to use some cobbled deep slate walls. I'm placing these in each of these corners. I'm going to put some candles on top of here. I'm also going to add a whole bunch of candles all around on the floor here. You got to remember, this is just the entryway to your grand base below, so you can really clutter up the floor and add lots of decorations. These candles really add to the ambiance, and it means you don't have to have torches everywhere for lighting. Okay, let's light all these candles. I think these black ones are really cool because they have a red glow to them. And with all of them lit, we can break all of our torches now. And you can see how spooky it looks in here. All that's left to do now is start breaking down our base, and I like to make sure I line the walls of my ladder with some stone or some stone brick or something that blends in with the build. And then you can go ahead and just place your ladder in this gap. So here we go, I've put my crypt inside a graveyard beside my haunted house, so let's have a look at how I've decorated my base. I press my button to enter, and here we are inside. Ooh, and the door has shut behind me. Okay, let's head down this ladder and see what's down here. Now I've decided to keep the theming of a crypt going, so I've created these little rooms off of a main corridor. In each room I've dedicated to a different use, so I've got smelting on this side, my bedroom and some book storage on this side. I have got sort of a blacksmith setup over here, an enchanting area over here, a potion brewing room, and of course we need lots of storage in a base. And then I've used this main corridor to display my beautiful armor and all of my wonderful shiny things that no one can steal because it's a secret base. And if you're creating this in creative and don't need a secret base but still want to create an awesome catacomb tomb like this, check out my videos below on how to create a haunted house and some Halloween decorations so you can really get into the spooky spirit. So now you have a super awesome hidden base. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing, and check out my Patreon to support me further. I'll see you in another video, and happy Halloween!